Meanwhile, for Carlo Ancelotti, will he get a nice new centre-back as a signing-on bonus, Jules? What are his options?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. And again, in the discussions to renew his contract, to extend his contract, he made it clear that at least in January he needs, it's not just that he wants to, he needs a centre-back. And I'm sure he watched the show when Stevie mentioned Thiago Silva. I'm not sure if Thiago Silva really right now, unfortunately for Stevie, is at the top of the list. But certainly from a Rafael Varane to a Rafa Marin to Ignacio, there's a few options there, I think, for Real Madrid to be able to go and satisfy what Carlo wants.
How difficult is it, Frank, for any of these players, certainly when you take a look at the younger ones in particular, to be parachuted into a Real Madrid side where expectations are so high?
It is hard, and it's why, for me, there is only one solution: taking somebody who already knows the house. And Rafael is the real man. I mean, it should be the right man. Well, the only problem is the amount of injuries he's going through, and he's been through, it's gone through, and that could be the main problem. But otherwise,
and he plays for Manchester United. That's also a problem, Frank, isn't it? He's at another club. Yeah, he's not just wandering the streets.
Well, he does. Well, he doesn't really play. I mean, he's been on the bench sometimes. You know, Ten Hag showed to the world that he preferred Maguire to Rafael Varane. So there is maybe a time for Rafael Varane to say to Ten Hag what he thinks, and if there is another possibility for him to express and enjoy the end of his career and go back to where he was one of the stars and where he won all his silverware, it's a good opportunity, and he knows the house. Everybody should be happy if he doesn't get any injury. But yeah, I only see one guy, Thiago Silva. I'm sorry, you can have some problems very soon, and the other players are too young and too inexperienced to go for that, and also because it's not going to last long. It has to be somebody who's ready to help as an interim as well, and after leave his place to the players who used to play and just came back from injury.
Has Varane got any legs? Has this story got any legs, Jules?
Yeah, I think, listen, he knows the place so well, obviously. He left because he just wanted a new adventure in his career, something different for him and his family. And I don't think he could have anticipated what happened for him at Manchester United and how bad everything has been, really. But Real Madrid feels very much like home, like Lens, where he started, you know, in France, is a little bit. But Real Madrid is even more like home for him. So he could do a really good job for 6 months. There's no doubt. I think he can stay 6 months without any injuries. I think the way that Real Madrid are playing, and I think we mentioned it the other day when we also mentioned Thiago Silva, I think if you have Rudiger next to Varane, Rudiger can do a lot of the running and Rafa can do a lot of the anticipation, the reading of the game, the positioning right, and the Rudiger-Varane partnership can actually work really well too. So for me, I agree with Frank, he makes a lot of sense. But however, we go back to that discussion, do you go for someone like him that won't cost you much in terms of a fee for the transfer, for example, but you're going to get 6 months out and then this is it? Or do you plan a little bit more for the future and you go for someone younger with all the kind of negative or the risk that has with it, and you spend a bit more money on someone like Ignacio, for example, who is a wonderful prospect at Sporting, might not just be ready yet, but will be, and he's already a really good defender.
What would you do, Case, if you're in charge of Real Madrid?
Well, I think if you could get a loan deal for Varane, you got to do that instantly, because then you have. I read some things where they were talking about trying to structure it very similar to what they did with Kepa.
Yep.
To get him in on that short term to cover, and then see if it makes sense to go full time, or in the summer say, you know what, we got some guys coming back from injury. Let's go spend some money on somebody long term. But right now they need somebody in, and I think he makes the most sense being there for as long as he was.